Merry Christmas folks, this is GreenyXI welcoming you back to Let's Play Parasite Eve. This is episode 3. In this episode, what we're going to do is take on the entirety of the rest of day 1. And I know this for a fact because this is actually a post-commentary episode. It's simply because my first bit of commentary for this, my live commentary for this, sort of vanished into the netherworlds or whatever you want to call it. Vanished completely, and I don't have a clue where it went because I did exactly what I always do, but never mind that. So what we're going to do in this episode, finish the day, which is all about the sewers. We'll be facing a boss at the end of the sewers, which I know a couple of people I've spoken to have gotten stuck on for some reason, but I don't quite see how, so long as you beat the boss in a specific way. That's what I'm going to say. Okay, no enemy here down in the sewers. This is a frog. A morphed frog. We've had a parrot, we've had a rat, now it's time for a frog, why not? Just look out for his tongue. I don't do that very well in this battle, but look out for his tongue. If you get too close, you're gonna get hurt. It happens with every enemy. It's not just because he's got like rough skin or some crap like that. It's just because he's an enemy. You don't want to touch enemies. When he's hopping about, if you try and attack while he's hopping, you're probably gonna miss if he's up in the air. So look out for that. We're getting loads of ammo from the battles around you. Oh yeah. I decided to go up the stairs first. Okay, new handgun. Let's have a look what the differences are. The difference is that the new handgun has more attack power, more range, more the same amount of bullets before you have to reload every time. But the main thing, down the rectangle things, you'll see that there's bullet times 2 and bullet times 3. The new one can do 3 shots before having to enter a new command. You might think that's a really good thing. And it is for now. It is a good thing for now. But as you progress through the game, that means that you're going to have to stand still for longer. So enemies have more of a chance of hitting you while you're shooting. So you really want to have 2 bullets each time rather than 3. In my opinion, anyway. Maybe some people are good enough to avoid attacks while having to stand still quite a lot. You know, time attacks really well, but I don't really so. So yeah. A couple of revives. These are incredibly good items. When you run out of HP, you will automatically revive. That means you don't have to worry about medicine or keeping your health up. You just have to focus on fighting while the revives do the rest of the work for you. So they're really handy items. Good enough to save for a little bit later on when the game gets a bit harder. Yeah, so we go back the other way just to show a little bit of variety. Not much, but a little bit. Okay, let's go the way that we actually have to go now. Don't ask. I don't have a clue what's going on there. Here's the little girl from the flashback back at the piano. It's actually... It doesn't actually say who the girl is, I don't think, in the game. But because she looks exactly like Aya when she was a little girl, I think it's meant to be Aya's sort of self showing her where to go to catch up with Eve, you know? The Japanese do like to do that sort of thing. This is an incredibly good hidden room. In its first chest, just a cure poison. That's a shite item, it just cures poison. Well, we have no other way to cure poison right now, so it's not such a bad item at the moment. Later on we'll be able to heal it with magic, so it'll become a completely pointless item, I'd say. A magic defense plus 1 item? You might as well, like I've said before, you might as well use these sort of items as soon as you get them, because you're going to be able to complete the game by doing it that way. If you want to, you can save up all those sorts of items for the last day, so that you can use them all on the best weapon and best piece of armor, you know. Do that if you like, but I personally prefer just to use them instantly, just to give you your best advantage as you go through the game, rather than having to keep yourself weak throughout the game to be powerful for what goes on the last day. I do have a bit of trouble getting that treasure chest on the right bit, but the one on the left seems to open easy enough. Medicine 1, 45 HP. We've actually got... Medicine 1 is starting to become pretty obsolete even now, even on the first day. It's still pretty good. It heals most of your health, no matter how much health you have left. But it's not as good as when we first started the day already. Which is pretty amazing, to be fair. It's good to see that you're progressing in level, getting more health. Building stats. It's nice to see that going on, even this early on. We ain't exactly a high level yet, but you know. Next battle coming up is two frogs. And we know that it takes a few hits to kill each one, and they can hurt you by quite a lot for considering how early on in the game we are. But the good thing is, you get a lot of the XP out of this battle. If you want to run away from battles, by the way, you just run to the edge of the screen and hope for the best. I never actually did it myself, but that's how you do it. I think. Ooh, it might be from the main menu actually. It's one of the two. Level up again, some more bonus points, which we'll be able to do in day 2. I'm pretty sure it's day 2 when you can start spending your bonus points to increase a couple of different little things. Another phone. This is something I don't quite understand. Do you get emergency phones in sewers? I mean, I know people would have to go down there to maintain the sewers, to make sure it's all secure and it's not all for want of a better way of saying this, clogged up. Yeah. So maybe they need the emergency phones. I don't know. Okay, so we press the switch, and incoming now is a nice cinematic, which I've been saying about all the cinematics throughout day 1, but I like day 1 overall. Eve again? I think we just see her a lot throughout this day to get used to her being the main villain, get used to her being around. You know what I mean? Just to know the characters from the get-go. Okay, cinematic coming up. We're going to have a boss straight after, which is a pretty great boss, in my opinion. And like I said earlier, it's the one that a couple of people have spoken to have gotten stuck on, so here's the strategy coming up, which works for me. I like to switch from the club to the better weapon that we just got. So it means you don't have to get quite so close. You still have to be pretty close because these guns don't have brilliant range, but, you know. Oops, cinematic coming. So here we go, it's the sewer Croc, the crocodile that lives in the sewers that we all know about. It can come up the toilet at any time. It has 2 targets. It's the first enemy that has this possibility. What you want to do is go for the tail first, and then go for the head later on. As you can see, if you're outside of the range, you will miss a lot, or you'll deal a tiny amount of damage. Either way, it wastes bullets, and it's a pretty shit thing to happen. We have to heal so early on in this boss. The thing is, you have to get pretty close by using this handgun or the club, so yeah, it requires you to get pretty close and risk getting hit by his tail. God, heal again. But eventually, once you've used magic quite a bit through the battle, the Synergy Energy Gauge, is that what it's called? The MP Gauge, I'll just call it that, will eventually stop recharging, and once you use medicine, it'll start recharging again. That's the tail down. It goes down really quick, doesn't it? If you're using the club, you can still do it. You can still get through this boss with the club pretty easily, I'm sure. Stage 2. Time for the head to have a good go. Time to shoot the noggin. As you can see, you have to reload now and again. This gun can have 6 bullets before you have to reload, which is a fair amount of bullets, but later on you get more and more, and, you know, obviously better if you have more before you have to reload. But yeah, this is an easy boss. I find that some people don't, that sort of bewilders me a little bit, because as long as you're a good enough level, you shouldn't have many problems with it, I don't think. Here we go, Croc done. Level up, of course, who's a boss. We learned slow, which slows the enemy's ATB gauge, so they get fewer attacks in while you can get some more in. Some better armor, we'll check that out in the next episode because we don't get a chance to now. But yeah, slow. I tend to like, personally, to keep my MP for healing moves rather than using status ailment moves. And the same in Final Fantasy and every RPG really, but yeah. So now we've done the sewers, done the Opera House. We'll never need to go back in there throughout the rest of the game, which is quite sad because I quite like the area, but there we go. What's coming up now? They're trying to report her because she survived the whole incident, you know. That's about it. We're about to be introduced to a new character that we'll be seeing in every single day throughout the rest of the game. Or pretty much every day, maybe not one day, I don't know, I can't quite remember. But here he is, Daniel. He's a very subtle man, as you can see. Yeah, he's subtle in his ways, but he gets the job done. He's a fellow policeman, you know, who we'll be seeing a lot of the time throughout the game. Like I said, that's about all I want to say about him for now, because yeah, I don't want to spoil anything at all. Ah, these parts, the blurriness of the scenery, it reminds me of like the 80s when it would be, is it Beverly Hills Cops, where do they use the same effect and now is it a different film? I know there's a game from back in either the 80s or 90s where this sort of effect is used, but I can't remember the name of it, and I'm hoping somebody will be able to tell me, or at least suggest something that it could have been. It's like, you're this policeman, every time you have a battle, it's sort of futuristic, the game is really futuristic. Every time you have a battle, you have like a target practice zone. You know? A gun practice zone. And that's how you shoot, you have to aim around the front, in front of you. As well as that, you have this little tiny robot that helps you throughout the places. I can't remember the name of the game. I really wish I could. So if you could help me with that, I would be really grateful. I would love it. Anyways, Mitochondria. She's going to be a little bit confused about all this crap going on throughout the game, really. And we'll find out a little bit as we go through the game. Daniel doesn't do much to comfort her, obviously. Look at him. And that is the end of day 1. It's a nice day. I love day 1 because you get loads of cinematics, you get loads of introductions to characters. I just like everything about it. Oh, this bit now. I forgot about this bit actually. How I love these sorts of sceneries in games, in paintings, in films. It's like night, and in real life, of course. Nighttime city landscapes. And when you go on the trains in the UK out of a city at nighttime, and it looks absolutely stunning because they always design the tracks so that you can see the best of the city. I think that's what they intentionally did. It actually looks quite Mega Drive-y in this game though. Like the graphics were dated even back in the PS1 days, like blocky and pixely. Anyways, that's the end of day 1. Day 2 is going to be Fusion. What that means, we'll see when we get there, but they're all quite weird names either way. So, this has been GreenyXI. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll see you again next episode when we start day 2. I don't know why I showed you saving. Anyway, I'll see you again in a bit, folks.